Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of 10 Dead Rats.
Yay!
Wait for your line there, Christian. 10 Dead Rats is your weekly dose of Warhammer Fantasy and old school D&D mashup. Brought to you by Describe. Describe.com is a fine purveyor of box text for your adventure creation needs. That's dscryb.com/wandering. Go there for excellent, handcrafted, expertly written box text for anything from spells to characters to locations. And you can use it to create your adventures up front, or you can use it on the fly using their search features. If, for example, somebody says, I'm casting this new and unusual spell that we've never heard of before, type in the spell name, boom, got some nice descriptive text, go right into your game.
That's a very specific example, Paul.
That is a very specific example. Perhaps we'll see more of that example in the future. So, do remember that you can get 10% off any purchase made at their website by using the special code WANDERING. So thanks to our sponsors, Describe. That is us.
Yeah,
Indeed.
Indeed. Paul, it's not the rest of us.
The
rest of us offer no discounts anywhere.
I have one other announcement to make, which is next week I will be streaming our show from a secret, undisclosed location. So, So hold on to your butts. Hopefully, everything will just work fine, and no one will notice the difference apart from the background behind me being a little different. But you never know. I don't know what the internet's going to be like, so hopefully it's okay and not crazy.
I theorize that Paul has recently been appointed Secretary of Agriculture, and he will be the designated survivor of some kind of presidential event, and so he'll be deep in the underground bunker in case he becomes president. Yeah,
you're not going to get good Wi-Fi there. That's going to be a problem.
Yeah. Well, it might also be a problem for the rest of you calling in. I don't know. Anyway, so hopefully everything will be fine, but do everyone be prepared, and hopefully, if anything goes awry, my sincere apologies, but doing my best to keep the show running. Does anybody else have any announcements for our lovely viewers before we get going here? No. Okay. Well, I guess I'll mention for folks who have not been watching the Sunday talk show Wandering DMs and maybe missed our special guest Luke Gygax last week, check in with us this Sunday for a new special guest. Ethan Gilsdorf is coming. Excellent author, researcher, created a TED Talk about Dungeons and Dragons. Wrote the book Fantasy Freaks and Gaming Geeks. Very influential book on geek culture and D&D, and we're going to talk about how the D&D landscape has changed over the last 10 years since that book came out. So check that out. There you go. That's it. That's my spiel.
Good announcements. Good announcements segment this time, everybody. Yeah.
Awesome. So, without further ado, let's jump into tonight's episode of 10 Dead Rats. And we are back. Welcome, everyone. Last week on 10 Dead Rats, what happened? Not much. Party discovered a huge golden dwarf living in a pool of what appeared to be hot blood. As you do.
Oh, delicious.
Hot blood.
It was either hot blood or soup.
Delicious.
Hot blood is definitely in 2000s indie rock band album name. There's definitely an album out there named Hot Blood.
Indigo decided the correct thing to do in this situation was to throw a piece of warpstone into the pool of hot blood, which was retrieved by the giant golden dwarf that lived within.
Which is good attempt.
The group then decided the best thing at that point was then to run. which is perhaps a better instinct, made their way back to an altar room where they discovered a hidden statue dedicated to the chaos god Khorne, the blood god. They snatched that up and made their way to the surface and discovered themselves in the basement of another one of the unusual signal towers being built all along the river. So, from that vantage point, they were able to see that they were not that far from Kemperbad, and so the group hoofed it on back to Kemperbad, where Indigo had a nice chat with Sighilda, discussing all the horrors that the group had seen, trying to figure out what was best to be done. Sighilda encouraged him to bring his news to the Grand Theogenist, who normally resides in Altdorf, but is currently making a journey to Middenheim, and pledged herself and the Sisters of Sigmar present in Kemperbad to go and deal with the horrible golden dwarf demon living under the signal tower nearby. As Indigo returned to the boat to deliver his news to Mina and Bruno, who happened to be naked for reasons unknown.
Well, I lost all my worldly possession. It makes a lot of sense. Reasons quite known. It's also tastefully shot, so everyone should imagine that Bruno always has like a candlestick right crotch level, or you know,
very classy.
He's carrying a sack of something. It's quite tasteful. Yeah.
Just like that bit from Austin Powers, the very classy and tasteful movie.
Well, actually, I was not thinking of that, but yes, you're right.
Before we get to that conversation with Indigo and Mina and Bruno, where was Yeffi? Yeffi had made her way to the estate of Count Orlock and discovered it appeared to be boarded up, and was about to perhaps examine it further. So we're going to begin tonight with Yeffi. Yeffi, you stand late at night on the at the edge of the Orlock estate. I believe you've had crept up to one of the windows to peer in through the closed shutters and had seen a dark room with large white sheets covering most of the furniture.
Yes, I was going to break in that window. I'm just going to put Bruno's pants that I bought, probably in one of my pockets or something, and wrap it around my waist.
Excellent. Securing the new pants.
Right.
You try to
Securing
slide
the pants.
slide into the house. Give me an agility test and go ahead and use your contortionist ability. I'm sure that will help.
I nat 20.
Nice.
Silent
and supple like an eel. You slide. You slide easily into the inner room. You find yourself in what you believe to be the dining room. You remember seeing meals held here. The long dining table is covered in a big white cloth. The sideboard also covered in a big white cloth. And looking around, you can see there's still portraits and such on the wall, but the room does look very more Spartan than you're used to. As you look around, you expect, perhaps it's just because it's dark and empty, but it does seem maybe a little more empty than you would anticipate.
All right. Well, Yeffi's going to start poking around. Just going to look. Probably if there's a dresser, move the sheets off that, see if there's any socks.
Okay.
Or jewelry.
Okay.
To steal.
Well, again, in the dining room, you figure the best place actually is to go poke into that sideboard, see if the silver's there.
Oh, yeah.
You creep over towards the creep over towards the sideboard. It's right next to a fairly large fireplace, which is quite cold, and you can see has been swept clean. There are no logs placed in it. There's no ash in the base of it. And next to it is a side. You pull the sheet from the sideboard aside, and you gently pull out the drawer to make no sound, and you can see all of the divots where one would place the silver, but it is bare. There's no silver here.
Either someone looted this place before me and put everything back nicely, or he's moved on. Huh. All right. Well, I guess it's time to see if there's anything in the bedrooms, because I'm...
Excellent. Yeah, if you begin to pad about the estate, searching for any clues as to what may have happened, why don't you just give me an intelligence test as you search about the house?
Oh, yeah, and there's that cool library. Oh, that sucks. I rolled a 5.
Okay. So you spend a good chunk of time creeping through the house, and basically, room after room, it's the same story. It looks like many things were removed, especially valuables don't seem to be present. All of the furniture has been covered up, and really only the large things have been left behind, the unmovable things. And in general, you notice a lot of places where you would expect. For example, in Orlock's, in the master bedroom, as you go over to this to the vanity, you would expect to find small cases of toiletries and maybe as brushes and etc. And you can even see little spots on the velvet lining on the top where clearly other boxes and jars and such would have been kept and have left their mark from being kept there for some time, but have clearly been taken away. Takes you several hours picking through the house, but you're fairly certain at this point that it was thoroughly packed up and that no one is here but you, and that any valuables have been either really well hidden or taken with them in their departure. You do, however, eventually discover in the library, which or the small study where you remember some confrontations happening.
Yeah. Yep.
Poking through there, you can see the books are still in place. You rifle through the drawers of the desk, and there's things like paper and ink and such in there. You're not finding any notes or anything interesting like that, but you do find in the fireplace. Actually, you find a crumpled up piece of paper hucked in the back that looks like it was tossed in there as if someone was chucking it in there to get burned up, and not realizing that, of course, that the logs, like every other fireplace, it's been swept clean. There's no logs, there's no ash, and so this balled up piece of paper is just kind of sitting back there on the grate.
Yeah. Well, I'll go get that. So someone just threw it back here because they thought it was going to burn, but didn't realize there was no fire.
That's what it looked. That's your guess, because it's just sitting back there. It's just stuck back there. Like maybe, perhaps someone who is used to being able to just chuck things back in there and have them vanish, failed to realize that there was no fire to consume whatever it was they were throwing back in.
Okay, I'll take that.
Excellent. So. I'm going to chuck this into our handouts folder for you. Bear with me just a second here. I had it a moment ago, and of course now I can't find it.
Yeffi's first reading experience.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, if you look in the handouts folder, there's a PDF labeled Letter from Manfred to Orlock, and I'll just get that up on our screens as well. Maybe you can, I guess you could possibly read it off your screen, maybe, or take a look in the handouts folder, whatever's easier for you.
What's it called again?
Letter from Manfred to Orlock.
Yeah, I gotta refresh. Sorry.
No, not a problem. Yeah. So
I'm still looking for it. Sorry,
there's some questions in the chat as to can Yeffi read, and in fact, we very recently, due to having bought the book Pig Goes to Market, Yeffi has been carefully studying and was able to purchase the advance to be able to read and write. So yes, technically Yeffi can read at this point.
But I'm having trouble finding the actual.
Oh dear.
The actual handout. That's okay. I will try to read it from here.
Can you read it? If not, I will read it for you.
Do you want me to do it in the Yeffi's voice too? Start Bartholomew. The news of this meeting off Elector Count is troubling.
Oh man.
Okay. All
This
our
is a long note.
sources concur that Karl Franz, that's not good, is much too feeble to coordinate such a gathering. Is he being manipulated by other forces? Will he abdicate to the prince? And why does the theologist move north to Middenheim? Oh, God, Middenheim. At such a time. I figured everyone got sick of the Yeffi reading. I can just keep doing it, but this is a long letter, folks. What mechanism? That word would have taken it from. What just skip it. Just skip the Yeffi. Does he work with Trodbreaker? I'm just taking I'm taking it back. I'll just take it back. There are too many unanswered questions.
Oh my god.
Anderson, ready for the journey to Altdorf. It is therefore at last time for you to return home. Though your homecoming will be of a short duration, you must join the Sturland Regiment. Is that what this says?
Retinue.
Okay, anyway. Retinue. Sorry. God. It's like, yeah. And instantiate yourself as advisor to the Graf. Did I read that right? Graf? Graf? What is it, a hard A or a light A? That's what Piggy the Market taught me. Ulric is still yet quite young for a Graf. You should find him easy enough to... I'll just leave that one to Bruno, too. That's a long word. Oh, that's another name that I can't say. Will travel. It's an A name. Ariet. Sure. Maybe it's Franz. I don't think France exists, but that's okay. We'll travel to Middenheim to learn more of the conspiracy of Trodbringer. Ooh, I can't wait to read that book. And the cult of Sigmar. Wait a second. Isn't that Indigo's god? Is he in a cult? We're going to have to tell him about that. She is near there now, as it is, and can perhaps bring a bit more subtlety to that effort than that of which you are. That's a long sentence. It's very... Yeah, maybe you're not capable of doing that because you're always talking about sex or whatever. She will return to Altdorf in time for the meeting, and you may consult with her there when you arrive with the Sturland. That word again. Renew. Make haste. Make haste, Bartholomew. That's a name, it's Bart. It is so more urgent every day. Manfred, I'm taking this with me. I'm putting it in my pocket. That was a hard one. If anybody wants
that attempt
to
at
real
coordinate was excellent.
It was beautiful.
Coordinate. Yeah.
Now, Yeffi, you may recall, I don't know if you're carrying this or if you've given it to Bruno, but you have a letter addressed to my dearest Deborah, which was signed Lord Bartholomew Ruprecht Orlock III. So you definitely recognize that name.
Yes, I do remember his name is Bartholomew. Just
Excellent.
I can make fun of it.
Yes.
Fair.
All right, Yeffi will put it in her pocket. She might just look around and see if she sees anyone else's earrings. She doesn't find the earrings. She'll head out and she'll come back with the pants and throw them at Bruno.
Thank God.
Meanwhile, back at the ship, unfortunately, it takes Yeffi quite some time, so she spends several hours poking through. So it's actually past midnight by the time Yeffi finally makes it back to the boat. At the boat, I believe Indigo had recently returned from chatting with Sighilda and was talking to Mina and Bruno. I don't know if you three have more to discuss.
Right.
Well, doesn't seem like we will have a choice.
Why Middenheim? It's so cold. Bruno's doing some squats while he has this conversation too. Just getting some calisthenics here, some lunges, couple of ballet bar work.
Yeah, don't.
Why does it have to be Middenheim?
I guess there's an important meeting there, which is why everybody is there now. I mean, the head of the Church of Sigmar is there, then it's gotta be important.
So Sikhilda's gonna take care of the thing that you gave a bunch of warpstone to?
The thing that I
at the
accidentally
time,
gave
it was
a bunch
hard.
of
It was hard to
warpstone
know. I don't think information was available at the time to know that that was the worst possible thing to do.
I didn't know it was a pool of blood, alright? I thought it was a pool
Absolutely.
of...
And we've all learned a lesson, which is don't throw warpstone in unidentified pools of blood
Yes.
in the future, which is
I'm
fun.
new
You
to
live
this.
and you learn.
Purging chaos thing, so... There's some baby steps.
Do we want to?
Anyway,
do we want to talk
yes.
about how Yeffi wanted to, drink the blood? Like,
Yeah.
That's probably
really
some dwarf
wanted
thing.
to.
There are those other dead dwarves. The guy looked like a dwarf, like a hot dwarf, like a big dwarf. So I just assumed.
He was warm because he was made of lava or something, or blood. But I don't know about hot.
It's a lot of
He was a
muscles.
Let's say
monster.
hot.
It was a
I'd say
monster.
hot.
Okay, it was a K.
Solid
It was a demon
gold.
K. Yeah,
Solid gold.
that's not attract.
I think it's pretty
Yeah.
attractive. I like
You know what?
gold.
Yeah. You say this as you're like doing calisthenics.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I dropped something. Let me just pick that up real quick.
No, you leave it. Just leave it.
It was just a little disturbing, her intense desire to drink molten blood. I feel like that's something to know.
I mean,
And now she's gone?
she's allowed to do her own thing. She's getting you pants.
Is she?
As long as she
I
doesn't
guess-
bring Orlock back here, it's probably fine.
He probably has some
That-
extra pants, though.
Probably. Halfling
That's
size,
good.
though?
I can always roll up the cuffs. That's what all the young halflings are doing these
Whatever
days.
it takes.
I think
Literally,
my
whatever will get
suspicion,
you pants.
So,
my suspicion is that because Orlock is a vampire, and vampires drink blood, right? And Yeffi was ensorcelled by Orlock, that Khorne, being the god of blood, has some sort of indirect third-party control over that, and that's why the blood was so tempting. Not that Yeffi is a vampire or a blood worshipper or something like that.
I
It sounds like she's ensorcelled by one.
Yeah, but we
just
knew that.
assumed.
Who's
Okay,
we?
thanks for letting me
What,
in on the.
ensorcelled by Warlock? We knew that, right? I thought that was common knowledge.
I thought she said like a crush on a guy.
What,
Oh, he did.
Oh,
What,
Orlock.
right?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. That's vampire. That's what vampires do. They look at you and they go, "Bleh," and then you follow them around.
Why didn't you look at
I've
the
never-
rest of us?
He doesn't think we're attractive or something.
Bruno's doing a big cat stretch as he says, "What?"
Ridiculous.
as Bruno comes right into the foreground with his big stretch, and you're finally about to see everything, Yeffi appears on the boat. I brought pants.
Oh, thank God! Yeffi!
Brandon, I got
Oh.
your pants. Here.
Favorite
Oh,
member
thank
of
you
this
so
crew.
much. Oh, that's nice because it was getting a little chilly on here, honestly. Whew.
Yeah.
All right, I'll put these on later. Save them for tomorrow.
Oh,
No, you should put them on now. Put them on now. It's cold. It's very cold. Just put them on now.
Oh, it is cold. I see. Yes, okay, I'll put them on.
Yeah.
Where were you?
I I took a detour. I found this. What?
Nothing. What?
No, I found this really weird letter near the Orlock estate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Near.
Yeah, near. Kind of like
Is
inside.
it right by the pants store? Yeah.
Yeah, it's near the pants store.
Okay.
What's the letter say? Anything interesting?
Wow. And then we had to read the letter again.
Yeah. Great.
Look at that.
There it is.
Completely bare of stuff. It was all gone. No silverware, no jewelry. Look at how disappointed I am. So many photographs. I mean, not photographs, but like portraits. But yeah, I was going to cut up those because I did that last time, and it's kind of weird. I keep carrying that around. But yeah, they had nothing. I mean, there was bed sheets, but I wasn't going to steal those.
A lot of names.
Oh, you're reading. Sorry, you're reading.
Yeah.
Who are these people? Do any of these people sound familiar to us? I mean, other than
We know
Karl
the
Franz. Yeah.
And we know
Karl Franz is the emperor.
There you go. Yep. Karl Franz is the name of the emperor. Yep.
And the Theogenes is the grand Theogenes we're supposed to see in Middenheim, right? Okay.
Isn't Toadbringer the theologist?
Toddbringer, you've heard the name Toddbringer, I think possibly once before. He is the Graf of Middenheim. Graf being a nobility or lord title.
Okay.
Huh. But we don't know Haupt Anderson or Ariette.
True.
But we've heard Manfred from Orlock last night. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Andy.
Oh, I was just asking if we know who the Stirland retinue was. Like,
You've heard of Stirland for sure because if you look at your map of the Empire, it is one of the Grand Provinces. We are currently in Reichland. The whole campaign so far has been in Reichland, which you see down there towards the south, where the major rivers converge. You can sort of see Altdorf, and can I pick out Kemperbad on there? It's on there somewhere.
Yeah. We're
and then
so
you can see Stirland there to the northeast.
Right.
If you follow the road north from Altdorf up into Middenlands, all the way at the north end of the Middenlands, you can find Middenheim.
Oh, okay.
And if you look all the way on the far left side of this map, you will see Marienburg, which is where our campaign started, if you remember, way back when.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was a while ago.
That was a while ago. It was indeed.
So we know what the elector counts are, right?
Yes,
I don't know if that's common knowledge for a member of the Empire.
Yes, as a member of the Empire, you are aware of the concept of elector counts. That there are counts of each of the provinces who actually elect the emperor.
Oh. Oh, but they typically elect the it's typically like his son or whatever, and that's
you're
what
not
the issue
sure.
is.
I mean, it seems like not really not being of the nobility or really understanding exactly how higher level politics work in this area. You expect some level of dynasty there, of like the son should become the new emperor, but there are elector counts and there's like an election or something. You're not really sure how it works.
Huh.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Do we know if Karl Franz's dad was the previous emperor?
Yes, he was.
He was, okay.
He was.
Oh, hey, Mootland. That's where Bruno's from.
There you go.
Oh, look at it way over there.
That's a good point. Let's see. If Bruno is from Mootland, then he surely had to go through Stirland to get down to Reichland at some point in his life. So you may then, Bruno, recognize the name Haupt Anderson as being the family name of the ruling nobility of Stirland.
Stirland. Oh, okay.
That is the family name.
Interesting.
Oh, and they're all going to meet up in Altdorf?
To name a different emperor, I assume. because this one's crazy or whatever, or a mutant.
Oh.
That's the
Oh,
issue
they're
with
gonna
Prince, right?
vote.
Yeah.
Huh.
Wow. We should not be involved in that.
We don't know who Ulric is, though, right? I think, is Ulric the same as Hopt Anderson?
He must be.
Hope Anderson is definitely the surname of the ruling nobility
Ulric must be the
of Stirland.
Graf
Yeah.
of Stirland. Oh, they're
So
gonna vote
he's-
with the kid's a mutant. A mutant. They're gonna vote
Yeah.
for the mutant.
They're going to vote
maybe.
It's gonna
against the
be a
mutant.
mutant king. Well, that's the
Not
worst
that.
thing that can happen.
Right, because the king leadership has been so good so far.
Have you not read
Who's
my
gonna-
treaties? Hang on a second. I have a copy here somewhere. Have you not read?
Who's gonna vote for the Mutant King?
Okay, so it looks like there's a bunch of people who are going to vote for the new emperor, and Bruno thinks they're going to vote for the mutant king to be king, but I don't know that they're going to vote for him. And also, who cares? The monarchy is
But
terrible.
It's a mutant.
not Orlock. Not Orlock, right? Because like Orlock
No,
hates mutants.
Orlock is supposed to insinuate himself as an advisor to the Graf, which must be the Graf of Strickland.
Stirland.
It's a soft
yeah.
A. Okay.
Yes.
Soft A graph. Okay.
And influence him to do whatever Bartholomew and Manfred want. Do we know who Manfred is?
Oh, he's like Orlock's vampire boss.
Oh, cool.
So some of you may know or have heard from rumor or just know by reputation that in the farthest end of Stirland is the land of Sylvania, which is known to be controlled by vampires and is a terrible, horrible place that no one should ever visit.
Is that our next location?
Yeah. Orlock, last time we talked to Orlock, he told us about Manfred, I think. Because he wanted Yeffi to be one of his vampires.
Huh?
And go talk to Manfred
Oh,
about
yeah.
being a vampire.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot
drinking-
about that.
Hot blood.
Is anyone else concerned about this cult?
Which
I'm
cult?
concerned about a
Which
lot
one?
of things.
Yeah, right. It's a long list of
It's a long
concerns here.
list.
There's a lot of concern here.
Okay, so where does this lead us to go? What are we doing?
So, what I think this means, and
Not to say that it leads us anywhere, because we have agency. But, like, what are we doing with this information?
Yeah, it just says that we should go to Bretonia. It's so weird.
what it sounds like, based on what we've heard, and this is, I don't know, maybe this is divine, just my brain is in a haze because it's very, very tired, and I had a divine revelation recently, right? So
That's true.
I could be going crazy, but it sure sounds like the vampires with Orlock and Manfred and all those folks, and the Wittgensteins with whatever her name was is mutant claw-handed brother are all
Margaret.
going to Middenheim to influence whatever this discussion is that involves the Grand Theogonist about the succession of the Emperor. The Emperor!
Yeah.
Like,
And
the
it is-
Emperor!
And it is probably our moral imperative to find out what they're doing and do the opposite. Right?
Is that-
Right?
That's a big philosophical
Right.
question. If there's one thing I do know, around this time of year, it's great season to be in the Moot. We do goat harvesting. There's a lot of goat-related festivals, pie eating. If anybody wanted, say, a 6-month-long vacation.
I mean, I do like pie.
The pie is great. You can meet the whole Fine Bottom clan, or Bretonia, also nice this time of year. I don't speak Bretonian.
No, I
Sure
don't.
have a civic duty to the Empire to stop whatever is afoot. Right?
See, yeah. Yeffi and I are kind of from our own sort of, racial clans, and Mina's an elf, so who knows what oh no, you're a human, sorry.
Not an
Mina's
elf.
yeah.
So rude.
Like I don't. It's not like a microaggression, but it's something. It's certainly something that you keep bringing it up.
Yeah.
You're just also tall. Look, Indigo might be an elf too. I don't know. Look, I can't keep track of
Indigo's
these
definitely
things.
not an elf.
You think I'm an elf?
Well, I've seen him grow
We're not
old,
elf.
so no.
Woo!
Yeah, you should have seen him back in the day.
Lines have been drawn.
Just saying, like if
Look,
an
it's
elf.
Like,
It's fine. I just like to think that if like an elf joined the party, we would try and be, like kind to them.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I don't
Yeah.
think
All
so.
right, I'll
Mina,
Two last
Yeffi's right here.
Yeah.
Yeffi's right here. She can hear you when you say things like that.
okay, fine. I'm sorry.
By the way, I'm partying with an elf is with earplugs. Let me tell you.
All right, look. Maybe we should sleep on this. Mina needs to go over a copy of my Trees on Mutation, since she's clearly ill-informed.
I'm gonna read it. But I'm gonna redline it. So.
I don't know what that means. Okay.
Yeah.
Look, hang on a second. Let me just rummage through my stuff here. Here is the last extant copy, since I lost the entirety of my worldly possessions. So you take a gander on this.
It's a very rough bundle of papers with a lot of, writing on it. The front cover has like the big title imprint of what's the title of it, Bruno?
Yeah, I should have remembered this.
Yeah.
It's like mutation and its horrors and ill effects or something.
And then it says bye, and like there's like 3 names that have been like scratched out. And I don't know which name it actually says on the bottom at this point.
It does say Bruno Feinbottom, but really scrawled, and clearly the biggest name is Indigo Halberstein. And like in the midst of a bundle of papers is what's clearly a totally separate writing that's just Bruno's personal notes, or like his life story.
Like a diary.
Yeah,
Nina's gonna read
basically. Yeah.
There's some marginalia where there's like little hearts where it says like Bruno plus Elvira, and then that's like scratched out. Yep.
This has been read by doctors.
Cool. Okay. Great.
Anyway, after reading that, you should know why a mutant emperor is the worst possible thing we could have.
Okay. I'll report back after we have a long rest and let you know what I think.
Okay, and with that, now in the wee hours of the morning, the group finally returns to their hammocks. And perhaps even some of this conversation is being had from the hammocks as you try to fall asleep. No, read this!
Go to sleep.
So
God.
the one thing I want to check as what is in our ship right now. My last notes on it are that we have 0 gold and 20 casks of wine. I don't know if we resolved that though.
She was supposed to sell them at this town, I think.
Renat was going to sell them here. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
I believe so.
Was
I hope she wasn't going to sell them in Aldor.
Yeah, what are we going to tell Renat?
I hope she wasn't going to sell them in Altdorf. We're going to tell her to buy something that sells well in Middenheim, apparently.
Maybe it's wine.
Let me take a look here and see what. There we go. Just looking for some price lists here. So you're currently in Kemperbad, and you were transporting wine. Previously, you had been what, in Altdorf? Did you come south?
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
Because I think we bought the wine in Altdorf.
Yeah, we were back and forth thing.
So, what you discover, come morning, perhaps, Bruno, as you wake and go to poke through the hold, you can see it's full of wine barrels.
Damn it. So we don't have any money at the moment. Well, I don't.
I have
You don't
some.
have any money? No.
Not
I
on
still
the
have
Most
ship.
are some.
Oh, not.
Yeah. We got some money.
The ship's coffers are, dry.
Okay.
So eventually, each of you rouses in the morning. Bruno, having gotten up a little early to go poke through the hold, Bruno, you return to the one room, the one other room that is enclosed. So there's a bunk room that has a bunch of hammocks where everyone was sleeping, and then just on the other side there's a small room with like a little table and a couple of stools that are used for meals and whatnot. And you can see that Mina and Yeffi and Indigo are all kind of gathered around the table, as well as Renat, and they're eating some gruel.
How's the gruel this morning, everybody?
Oh, that's good.
It's
fine.
tasty.
Nothing perks you up better in the morning than a nice bowl of gruel.
So I noticed that we have a bunch of wine in the hold instead of money.
Yes, that is so. I could not get a good price for it, I'm afraid. If I sell it here, it will be at loss.
That seems bad. Do you think they like wine in Middenheim?
I suppose so. Middenheim, that is quite far from here. That is far to the north.
Yeah, it is. It
Also-
is, isn't it?
It is also unfortunately landlocked.
What?
There's no river there.
We forgot to look at a map.
Huh. What's the closest we can
Here,
get
let
by
us
boat?
take a look here.
Yeah.
That's a map, and we'll take a peek. She rolls it out. As you can see, the Delb goes as far as Delbers, but then you would have to take a coach to Middenheim if you wished to go to Middenheim. Oh, the cost, I'm sure, to load all these barrels onto. You would have to hire many wagons. It would not be worth it. If this, I would say you should. I wonder maybe we could get a good price for it in Delbers, perhaps. I've not traded this far. I'm not. Honestly, I've only traded within Reichland, so I don't know the towns in Middenland.
Yeah, it seems like our personal, private business, independent ventures are bringing us to Middenheim.
Oh my, that is very far.
Do we have to?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
do I do?
I'm not carrying this thing in my pocket for any longer than I have to. And if I have to go and give it to the Theogenist, then that's what I'm going to do, Bruno.
What thing?
You know.
Oh my
Oh.
gosh.
The thing.
So, should we get carriages and go that way? And just go up a little ways and then get a carriage? Yeah?
Sounds-
We may as well
suppose
take the
if-
ship to Delbers if we can.
How much of a loss would it be to unload here? Because it might be smart to have money before we get there.
Let me take a look. How many barrels do we have? I'll take a look. 19 casks I am seeing on the list here. Current prices in here in Camperbad. I could get maybe a little over 100 Carls for it. 110 maybe. 115 perhaps.
Well, it's not my money, so it's not my decision. You guys.
Let's just take a risk and sell it in the newfound land, and then we can find some exotic stuff and sell that. And then we're not going to have the experience of going to that place and selling there and figuring out what's hot, and then that opens up your whole portfolio of awesome merchandise that you can afford and whatever you want to do with it. And then we can at least drink one of those casks of wine because darn it, this is a long trip. and we just went to a castle that had weird stuff in it that I haven't had any. I've been sober now for too long, and that stopped.
Well, at least you've been conscious.
Yes, okay. Well, let's sell the wine is all I'm saying. In the other place. What was it called?
Delvers.
Delvers. Sounds like a great place for a transaction. Right? Yeah. Take a risk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we huddle up here? You know, kind of core team members.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. We're
I
not
suppose
right
this
here.
means you want me to go and ready the ship for departure. I see. That is fine.
Oh,
In a nice
sorry.
Thank you,
way.
We're not. We're
We
not.
respect
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah.
Renat leaves the room and goes to busy herself about the boat.
Do we even want to take the boat? Like, is it better to go on foot or by coach?
It's
Which
so
way
far.
would be faster?
It's so far. What if we don't go and they just have a mutant emperor? What did you think of the? Oh, hey, what did you think of the treaties, Nina? It was good, right?
So I had some notes. Actually, out of character, how good is it?
It's so it's long. So I'm going to say that you've barely skimmed it at this point, given that you were looking at it for the first time in the wee hours of the morning just last night.
Yeah.
So you've kind of just skimmed through it. It's a little rambly. It's a little disorganized, but it seems accurate. There's certainly there were some diagrams of dissections and whatnot, and some discussion about the actual physical manifestation of mutation in humans, which seemed reasonably scientific and accurate.
Was there anything about like chaos magic and how that's involved with that, or just
No.
I
straight?
think that's
I think it's-
beyond. Yeah.
No. Yeah, it's fairly
It's
If I'm
fairly
giving Bruno credit, his one benefit here is that he saw a lot of actual mutant bodies.
Yes, that's the part where it gets into the actual physicality of the effects of mutation and the changes it makes on physical forms seems actually pretty good, pretty well researched.
Bruno, I haven't read the whole thing, but I have some notes. I'm not like I read a lot, so I just some thoughts like some paragraphs that are like a bit like rambly.
Constructive
but I think
compliment, sure. Yeah.
Well, I thought the heart of it was really interesting. Actually, I don't know very much about surgery and stuff, but I really liked this part over here, and I'm just gonna page through it in front of Bruno. I thought this was really, really interesting how you sort of compared these two bodies. I mean, you're
Well, I
probably
did
the
have
only
both the
person
bodies
who's
at the time.
Oh, well, I
Yeah.
mean, still, like having them right next to each other, I feel like it makes things like really clear for a layperson like me, which I thought was really cool.
Oh, nice.
I mean,
Yeah, see? Most people don't
Yeah.
have the benefit of getting their hands dirty.
yeah.
Bruno's very dirty, unclothed upper body.
You want like a shirt?
I was thinking of
I
going
can
just the
blend
cuffed pants here. I think it's a good look.
Oh,
With the pants
yeah,
way
you know.
rolled up, no shoes, nothing else, just pants. Kind of
It's
simple.
kinda
We're
like that
going to
old sport.
Middenheim.
It's very
Middenheim.
cold.
I know it's cold. I know it's cold. They dragged me through. Yeah, they thought it was funny that the snow was higher than I was, and so they kept tossing me into it, and then I would disappear and be super cold. Indigo.
Sorry. It sounds really tough for you.
Oh, it was very funny. It was
was
very
not
funny.
funny.
Oh, we can do it again. Oh, I hope it's
No.
snowing.
What if I made him invisible and then we just chucked him and then you just
No,
saw him a little?
that's much less funny. Hang on a second. That makes it much worse. Damn it.
Okay.
There are wolves in the snow. They could have eaten me.
In the snow? That doesn't
Anyway.
seem right.
I think we should keep the boat. I mean, we could also just give it to Renat, I guess.
I'll just give it to Renat.
Or do we
Like once
sail?
we get to Danvers, and
Go-
then we give her the boat. And then we take a carriage up to Middenheim and freeze our turkeys off.
All right.
We don't want the boat to come back to, though?
It seems like a lot to ask Renat to wait in the cold Middenland for God knows how long.
We're probably going to be
That's
in
a good
Middenheim for a while.
Presumably, we'll come back. By the time we resolve this, we're going to be like favored, members of society. We're going to save the Empire from electing a mutant prince as their new emperor. And then they'll all read my treaty, and they'll be like, "That's right. That would have been really bad."
I mean, that's
a
been
great
our
point.
record so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either
Lots of
that
people
will
like
happen,
us.
or we'll get banned from the Empire. So.
A lot of people
One of those
don't like
happen.
us, actually. That's an interesting
I don't think
point.
anybody likes us.
No one likes us. I don't even think Renat likes us anymore.
Sergey, I guess we kind of exiled him to Kislev. Okay. The cult that Casper Liegeroom's part of, and the cult that hates that cult, both hate us.
Yeah.
Well, Sigmar likes us. Or Indigo.
Sigmar likes Indigo.
That's cool.
He's a god.
We probably can't go back to Bogenhofen ever again.
Let's take
Why
the
not?
boat. Yeah.
We did destroy society there. Kind of had that demon thing, and we killed a bunch of powerful people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Hit
should
that
take the
doctor
boat.
with a rock.
We should give Renat the boat. Because ultimately, people know us for that boat. And certain people might try to find us using the boat.
That's a good point.
That's a very good point.
You should give Renat the boat.
Should we warn her not that she might also want to hire some guards?
Maybe she should paint the boat. Maybe put another sail on it, make it look a little different, rename it something her own, make it her own boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once we get to Delvers, though, we can tell her all that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We just don't
Great,
stop
I'm gonna open up.
North on the way.
I'm not
Yes.
gonna stop my Yeah. I'm gonna crack open some wine. Anybody want some?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's it? 9:30 a.m. Let's get to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Before we go, I think I would like to go back into the city and see if I can find someone who knows anything about Delvers at all. If that's like
Sure.
a small enough town that
Sure.
Like a travel agency.
like Mina shows up and is like, "Hi, what packages do you have?" And
Okay.
I throw her out.
So Mina heads back up the lifts up into Kemperbad to take care of some business. Yeffi is cracking open one of the 19 casks of wine. Everybody's having some wine. Renat grumbles as she moves about the boat, generally preparing it for, she assumes, for departure at some point. She has no idea.
Yeah.
Mina, you make your way up into town. And you're just going to like a tavern or something just to talk, just to socialize with folks, to try and find somebody who knows, or like what kind of source are you looking for?
I think she's going to go to like a bookstore.
Okay.
Just to see if they've got anything interesting, and on the assumption that those would be the people who are like the most I don't think she would realize that like sailors or whatever. I think she would just go to the bookstore.
Okay.
And see if they had any information for her,
So-
like a traveler's guide.
So you unlike modern bookstores, of course, in this era, much less common. Not a lot of people can read. So you find yourself kind of strolling through the marketplace and eventually finding a scribe's shop. Which is really more what he's doing is preparing documents, important documents for people, wills and etc. And he maybe has a small pile of books that he can show and possibly trade. But it's more of a side business than like I have this whole shop full of books. Why don't you go ahead and roll me a fellowship test?
Oh, I'm very bad at that. That's a 12.
12, excellent. So, let's see here. You meet a shriveled old man by the name of Adrak Tolson, who you say, at first he's some confusion if you want a will drawn up or some such, and you start talking about books, and he's I have a small selection, and he starts kind of bringing up, I could possibly, maybe, I suppose, part with this one for just 5 Carls. It is an overview of the provinces of the Empire, and it speaks of it is a travel log of sorts. But the author made a point to visit the capital cities of every province in the Empire.
Oh, that sounds really interesting. Do you have any, like, I don't know, like, what else do you have around? Like, maybe I could grab a couple, like, do a little bundle or something?
Oh, let's see. What else do I have? I have this novel. It is lighter fare. It is titled "Aren't You Little Short for a Night Panther?" It's about a halfling who poses as one of the Knight Panther and falls in love with a great lady, and their romance blossoms. Yes, it is quite popular amongst the nobility. I assure you, yes.
Oh, it's popular among the.
And there are certain passages which are quite good. You'll find.
Wow.
You can see here I've underlined them.
I wish you had this one's used, like you've underlined it already. Maybe
Yes.
I could take
These pages are stuck together. Hang on. Look.
Oh God!
No!
Oh no!
It's fine. I know. It's not. I'll give
no.
you the pair. I'll give you the pair of books for 7 Carls.
For five?
Oh. I mean, the travelogue is worth 5. How about 6 Carls?
The pages are stuck together. With...
5 and 10, then. 5 and 10.
That's fine. I can do that.
Very good.
I can do that. Okay. Pleasure.
Pleasure. Flipping through the travelogue, you do find some notes on Delbers, which interestingly is called out as let's see if I can give you a little info on Delbers here. Hang on. So it is on the River Delb, about halfway between Middenheim and Altdorf. It is a prosperous mercantile community known for producing quality wines, and
Damn it!
does a stiff trade in wines up and down and across the empire. It is a chartered free town, but owes taxes to the Todbringer family, which controls the rest of Middenheim, for its right to rule.
Great. Well, this was worth the money. And I will be reading the other book. Thank you. Bye.
Excellent. Anybody else? Just taking a day, a little.
Do we have anything we want to do here?
Indigo will buy some warm clothes.
Very good. Those you can easily buy.
Yeah.
Great.
Get some warm clothes, get some provisions for the ship. I still have money.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you can get a nice set of warm winter clothing for a Carl, no problem.
I have some things I want to sell, actually.
Oh.
I have some jewelry from Wittgenstein Castle
Oh.
that I have forgotten about until just this moment. I have a gold choker, ruby earrings, and silver diadem.
Excellent.
That's stolen
Excellent.
from Regenstein's personal jewelry
Nice.
cabinet. So I'm going to try to sell
Presumably
those.
those were previously owned by Marguerite, I would assume.
Yeah,
So let's find Marguerite's stash.
probably nobody would recognize.
She doesn't need them anymore. It's fine.
Oh man.
Um, Excellent. There we go. There we go. The gold choker is valued at 50 carls.
Whoa.
The ruby
Damn.
earrings at 25 carls apiece. And the diadem will fetch 90. They're all
Nice.
very nice pieces. Very nice pieces.
Wow, why are we concerned about this wine?
Can I get Mark? Can I get that price for them?
Yes, you can.
Oh, excellent!
Dope.
Wow, that's a cool 190 carls.
Hey, Indigo.
Indigo comes back, big cloak, just sack of gold in his hands. Yeah.
Fur-lined
Bruno's-
cloak, fur-lined
Bruno's there.
boots, like all like
Yeah.
ready for a trek into the mountains.
Bruno's got his pants. He's got the cuffs rolled all the way up. It's tied with like a piece of rope, and sticking out of the rope are his 2 daggers and the scalpel. Indigo, pal, could you, if we're going to do any kind of toss the halfling in the snow material again, as it seems like, Mike, could you maybe, front me for some fuzzy clothes, the warm stuff? Because I don't even have a
yeah.
shirt at the moment, which is fine. It's cool. It's breezy out here right now. It's just I'm afraid.
I'll split that with everybody. What I get from selling the jewels, which is 47 carls
Ow.
for everybody.
Damn.
But Indigo
Great.
pockets the change, which is an extra carl.
Great.
So
Oh, that's very nice.
Very kind
All
of
right.
you.
Bruno goes into town with no shirt and his money, most of it in his cheeks, as is traditional, as is a totally common way that people would carry money to market, and purchases absolute Arctic explorer gear. Long jacket, like huge fuzzy hat, shawl, and is super sweaty by the time he gets back.
sorry.
Nice.
I thought of something else I want to buy, and then I'm done shopping. Sorry to drag everything done with shopping. Indigo wants to buy a gun.
A gun.
Oh,
Excellent.
yes.
I want to buy a gun.
Excellent. Excellent.
Can you even use a gun?
Oh, I'm gonna learn to teach myself.
Ha!
That can't go wrong.
Long time on that boat.
Yeah, we got a little while.
Yeah.
Bruno, depending on
not
how overboard you want to go, you can spend like from 1 to 3 carls on warm weather
The full
gear.
3,
The
absolutely.
full 3, yeah, there you go. Great,
Absolutely.
great. Then you are definitely, yep, you are sweating up a storm as you come.
I feel like this is the kind of trip that requires a specific outfit.
Okay.
Sorry to
A
slow
gun.
things down with that.
A gun. I'm looking that up. Does anybody else have anything else that they want to do while you're in here?
I grabbed those stack of fancy dresses for Marguerite, and I'm just going to exchange those for clothes, like warm weather clothes, unless they're worth $1 zillion, which I doubt. Just so I'm also prepared.
Okay.
And in fact, I get it, not having known that Bruno has money, I get it for me and Bruno, because I think he's insisting on only wearing here, so Bruno's going to have an extra pair of warm weather clothes.
Excellent.
Yeah.
As you shop around Indigo, here are your options. You can buy a blunderbuss for 8 carls. You can buy a firearm, which is a big 2-handed long rifle kind of gun, a little more like a musket, for 20 Carls, you can buy a Hochland long rifle, known throughout the provinces as the finest sharpshooting weapon, capable of damage at extreme ranges for 100 Carls. And you can buy a pistol, a more gentlemanly firearm, for 50. And powder and shot for a dozen shot goes for about 3 Carls.
Get the expensive one.
Keep in mind that the blunderbuss is sort of your most common, and it's used by coachmen throughout the Empire because it doesn't really require much skill. In fact, you don't actually roll to hit with a blunderbuss. It just kind of explodes in a cone in front of itself, and then people who are in the spray need to save to avoid the damage.
Yeah,
Whereas-
Indigo for a long time admires the Hochland long rifle and just really looks at it. But I'm not going to buy that because I don't know how to shoot a gun. So I'm going to buy a blunderbuss and a pistol.
Very good. Very good.
And a bunch of bullets.
Excellent.
All right.
Yeffi will buy 5 bowls of stew at various taverns and be disappointed by all of that.
All right. Anything else? You spend the day in Camperbad, making your purchases, preparing yourselves for travel. By the time you reach back to the boat in the evening, Renat looks quite antsy and says, "Well, where are we going exactly? What is happening? What is the plan? I don't understand."
Fair.
We're not.
Yes.
We're gonna go to Danvers. Our business
Delvers.
is taking us away. Delvers, whatever the hell that town is called.
Yes.
Thank you, Bruno.
Up the
Yeah.
River Delb then. Okay, all right.
Yeah, we're going there.
Well,
Along the way, we're gonna try to hawk this wine because evidently that place is really good at making wine, supposedly. Yeah, sorry, you go ahead. Tell her all about it.
Yeah. I found out that that place is a big wine producing town, so we should not sell the wine there.
Probably they're bored of all
but-
their local wines, and they'll like this exotic
How
outdoor.
about that? So, why don't I sit down with my book and your map, and we just pick a place along the route that's not known for making wine? Yeah. See, book saves the day again.
I'm gonna tell her.
Yeah.
All right, but now when we get to the place we're going, we aren't coming back to the boat. So we are going to give you the seabird. We would like you to have it. We would like you to continue your awesome merchandising merchant thing that didn't quite work out as a side deal that I was trying to get in on, but it really didn't work out for me. It's not my style. So we're going to give you some money to start your business.
What?
And you may have the seabird. Yeah, I'm going to give her the money. Just shut up, Bruno. And you can start your business, but you should repaint the boat. You should name it something that calls to you on a personal level. And thank you for all your great service. But you still need to take us there because we don't know how to sail a boat.
this is very generous, Yeffi. I am touched in my heart by this generous offer, and I cannot deny it has always been my wish. So, one last flight of the seabird then to this Delbers. One last flight up the river.
Yeah.
Together in arms. It will be bittersweet. But how much more?
You should really focus on giving it a different name. That's pretty important.
Yeah, very important. Well, I was going to give you 100 Carls.
Oh, this is excellent. I will refit the seabird, and I shall rename it and reinvest in my first. You say I guess wine. I guess wine is what Delbers is known for. It seems so. I shall trade some wine down the river Back into the Reichlands. Excellent. Oh, this is good.
Yeah, whatever the opposite of a seabird is what you should call it, and maybe hire like 3 or 4 really big dudes who aren't afraid to die.
I'm sure your business is going to do really well, so you should remodel a little bit. Maybe get a bit of crew area, like a cargo area with some of the money. Set up a nice cargo bay for that wine. Maybe get another sail, different color. Different masthead. You probably don't need that old fish thing.
Thank you, Yeffi. She very uncharacteristically gives Yeffi a big hug.
Oh, God.
Thank you, Yeffi.
Whatever.
One last flight of the seabird. Let's get going. And she starts barking orders to the couple of hired hands who get the sails ready and begin the journey up the river Delb towards Delbers. Actually, first up the Reich. In fact, because you're currently in Kemperbed, so first up the Reich to Altdorf, and from there up the Delb.
It's just right past that.
But do you? I mean, there's not. I mean.
Just right past that.
But to get to the Delbers, you must pass through Altdorf. I mean, this is where the river goes.
Yeah, we just don't stop.
That's fine. We just don't stop.
We just don't stop.
Yeah.
Very well.
Yeah.
And we're going to wait below deck while we're in Altdorf.
Yes.
Well, all right.
Yes.
Make sure the wine doesn't slosh around.
Yeah.
Very good.
In fact, maybe I'll make the ship invisible, and we'll just.
Look, the last time we came into Altdorf with something invisible, it did not work out. This was the exact cause of like 90% of what just happened.
No, the cause of 90% of what just happened was everything that went on in that horrible town, and that horrible castle, and the chaos stuff, and I'm just trying to... Maybe I could... invisible. But it'd be kind of fun, right? Like, it'd be on, like, it'd be like, we're gonna fall.
Let's see how much of the cask of wine we've drank by the time we get to Altdorf, and we'll play it by ear when we get there, yeah.
All right. The journey up the Reich, past Altdorf, and then further up the Delb to Delbers actually is going to take several weeks for you to make. So, so I'm just going to skim through that. We're just going to say you have a long and a luxurious journey up the river. Renat and her hands certainly know what they're doing. You try to lay low as you pass through Altdorf. You stock up on supplies in Kemperbad, and then stop at some other smaller towns along the way so that you can breeze past Altdorf. Why don't we just go around, and I will, let's see, we'll start here with, Mina and go clockwise from Bruno, Yeffi, Indigo, and just tell us over the course of several weeks, what's the journey like for you? What does Mina do in those weeks of downtime? I'm going to say it takes 4 weeks for you to get all the way up to Delbers.
Damn.
Keep in mind, each week you will do some natural healing.
Oh, thank God.
Which will be your level plus your toughness bonus in wounds.
I will do that one. That's a bonus, I guess.
Okay.
So that, I think, gets me all the way up to full, actually, which is awesome.
Is that 2 weeks or 1 week?
It's each week.
Each week
level
you get that,
toughness.
yeah. And you'll get that 4 times in your journey to Delbers.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah, I was low.
Yes.
All right. Well, it's like for actual planning purposes, I think Mina will be studying that book of the different geographic locations, as closely as possible, because Mina does not really know or remember very much about the nobility and who runs what. So the plan is that when they land, she should be able to sort out like who is in control of what and what the political situation is as much as you can get from a very vague book. Like at least, you know, what that situation is.
Yeah.
In her free time, she will be redlining Bruno's manifesto. I think she gets really into it. I don't know how enthusiastic Bruno is about getting like extensive, enthusiastic, completely doesn't understand anything about medicine notes for Mina, but they're there. That's like I think a lot of it is kind of hovering at the edges and most of the time reading.
Great.
Is her.
I will between sessions, Andy, I will send you some high-level information about the Empire, because certainly you get the basic information about geography and political structures from reading the travelogue. Will you roll me an intelligence test to see how well you dissect the treatise?
Oh boy. 3.
A 3. Yeah. Excellent. It is at least good editing. It is at least an attempt to help organize the thoughts. Although no new major revelations are made in the course of studying his text.
She's got the spirit.
Very good. Bruno.
I think Bruno's main goal is through sneaking in to read Mina's remaining necromancy and magic books, because I lost all mine, and a number of uncomfortable and weird conversations. Bruno is going to try to figure out how to resolve Yeffi's lust for blood that he's recently come to discover exists.
Excellent. How forthright is Bruno? Are you trying to keep what you're studying totally secret from the others?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I will ask for 2 tests from Bruno: an intelligence test just to figure out the information, and a fellowship test to see how well he keeps it secret. What he's up to.
All right. Here's the intelligence test. That's a 15.
Okay. Excellent. I'll give you some information. Let's see the fellowship.
All right. Oh boy. Ooh, much lower of a bonus on this one, incidentally. That looks like an 8.
Yeah, it's an 8. Okay.
Oh, we all know.
Yeah. It's Bruno asks some very strange probing questions. Mina, you find him a couple of times with those materials that you've collected as you're coming back to him with his treatise and reviewing notes. He often has one of those books in his lap, and so Mina certainly is well aware of what Bruno is trying to research. And at first there's a moment of tension where you think, oh, geez, what is he attempting to do? But eventually you're able to figure out exactly what he's up to, which maybe is less concerning than he's trying to, like, raise a new
slightly
undead
less
rat.
concerning now, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it?
Excellent. So, Bruno, you are able to learn your basic vampire lore there. What you find most concerning is you remember that one night on the barge when you first met Orlock, and he darn near drained all the blood out of Yeffi. You remember him clamping into her neck and her just turning completely pale. Now you do discover that in order to, like, completely turn her into a vampire, he would have to also force her to drink some of his blood, which you don't remember happening. But you do get the general feeling that by having been so drained herself, that that is possibly how vampires create what they call a thrall, and it could be someone who's basically under the sway or influence of him, or more easy for him to manipulate or hypnotize. And there's definitely some kind of magical psychic connection between the two.
Interesting.
Yeffi, what do you do with your weeks of downtime?
Yeffi is going to read Pigs Go to the Market She's going to try to start her own little writing. There could be a series of short stories about cooking halflings. Not cooking halflings, but like cooking, comma, some halflings. Not some
Important distinction.
Yep.
about about stealing stuff, and they go to a castle. And it's kind of like a biopic, but not really. There's some made up characters and some made up parts that happen in there, and then the other part of her journey, she's going to try to make stew. She's going to keep on trying to like make some stuff for people to eat, but then she's still going to be like, I don't like it. Some of it's really good, and she's just like, I hate this. This is not what I asked for. And she's going to take some time to understand the stars and stuff and talk to the sailors at night and be like, so how do you know where the ship's going? And kind of talk to them a bunch.
Excellent. Yep, the sailors are happy to discuss such things. Some of Yeffi's stews are quite good. Others have an odd metallic tang as she experiments with.
This one's pretty tasty.
Oh, yeah. The one with copper shavings was extra. It was close, Yeffi. You feel like it's close.
I find if I make the meat a little bit raw, it's really good. Just right at the end, put the meat in. Don't even boil it. It's just red.
Excellent. Indigo?
Indigo definitely starts the first few maybe week or so very early, getting up to do what he remembers of prayers to Sigmar. He takes it very seriously, but after a while it definitely devolves. He gets a little less slack and does a lot of fishing in the morning, a lot of sleeping in, a lot of extended tea breaks for everybody. But most of what he does, but in between towns, is he shoots his gun. He
I love the idea that all our various studies are punctuated with loud gunshots at all hours of the day and night.
Trying to figure out how it works. I'm sure he's seen someone shoot a blunderbuss before. He brings the sailors into it if they're interested, has to see who's the best shot,
Excellent.
But spends a lot of time, wastes a lot of his bullets just shooting the guns that he bought.
Yeah, you definitely blow through a lot of the powder. You also discover that the blunderbuss really it's very easy to use. You find you jam some powder in there, you just shove shot, or you found even just random bits of chunks of metal or silverware or broken bits of stuff, anything. You're like, you can just shove anything in there, and it just makes this cloud of shrapnel, which seems quite deadly, and seems like that would the sailors are especially like it because they talk about how good it would be to repel boarders. This is excellent, right? They're very excited about the blunderbuss. Whereas actually shooting the pistol, it seems a little refined for their abilities. But you spend a little time with the pistol trying to you put some bottles on the railing and try to pick them off. Yeah. Excellent.
There are a couple extra holes in the boat, I assume, but
that one piece of railing doesn't look good. Sorry, Renat, you're gonna have to fix that bit there.
Yeah.
All right. You eventually arrive in Delbers, which is a good-sized town. Again, it's a free city. It is pretty large, honestly, like on the realm of a Bogenhofen. It's definitely, there's a fair amount of trade that goes on here. You can see. Interestingly, what you discover is that around the border, along the northeastern side, getting a little noise.
Does anybody hear that? Okay,
yeah. It seems to be coming from you, Andy. I'm gonna pull your volume down a bit while I'm talking. Along the northeastern edge of town, there seems to be this like a refugee camp or a sort of shanty town that has built up, and asking around as you disembark and like look for a tavern or an inn to stay at and kind of prepare yourself to start asking about like coaching houses or other travel to Middenheim. You find that neighborhood up there to the northeast is referred to by the locals as Little Kislev, and apparently has a large Kislevite population, and is generally looked down, like you're warned away from it. Like, that's dangerous. Don't go to Little Kislev in the middle of the night, you're told. You hide your money pouch, under your clothing if you have to walk through Little Kislev. There's stories of bodies discovered floating in the Delb, which are attributed to the goings-on in Little Kislev. That's what you uncover.
Oh man, what is the weather actually like here? Like, is it very cold and snowy yet?
Well,
or are we not that far north?
we are just into Volgaheim, which is kind of late summer on the imperial calendar. You're past the summer solstice at this point, so the summer is growing old, and you're headed north. So it is starting to cool. It's not like super cold yet. You're not like wanting to bust out those all that fur-lined stuff that you bought, but it is definitely cooling.
Look, I don't want to say this, but do we need to check Little Kislev for Narop?
No.
No, we get in and get out.
No.
Because it's full of warp stone.
Well, so Narop is new to southern Reichland, right? Because that's why it was so big. That was like the first shipment that we brought with the little dolls, I think, from Sergei to Franck.
That wasn't the first shipment, but all of them had been very small. Like, we would have been the first big shipment.
I don't think it got this far north.
Okay.
I don't want to go there, because what if they've heard of us?
That seems pretty unlikely, but I guess not impossible. What?
Let's just rent a carriage and get out of here.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So.
Awkward silence. Okay.
Okay. So you avoid Little Kislev, which you're able to do. That's not a problem.
That's not
And
fun.
you ask around, and there are certainly plenty of there are some coaching houses, so you could rent a coach if you wanted to get up to Middenheim. A coach travel from here to Middenheim is going to cost you 4 Carls a person. You also discover you could, if you prefer, to just buy your own mounts if you want, or buy a cart or any of that sort of thing if you wanted to. That's going to be much more expensive, or you could just walk. What do you want to do?
Did we sell the wine at some point as we were traveling to anyone who wasn't that, or is the wine like a gift or not? Were there any like small towns we were able to stop off at and just sell the wine before we got here?
That's a. Well, you certainly didn't stop in Altdorf. So unfortunately, no, you've not unloaded the wine. The wine is all still in the hold at this point.
The thing is that throughout this entire journey with these wonderful people, Indigo and Bruno have pretty much paid for everything most of the time. And I have to be honest, I've looted a lot of stuff. And I haven't bought a whole lot of things other than a fancy dress and some pants for Bruno, because most of the time you guys are like, no, I've got a Yeffi. So why don't I just get the carriage for everybody? It's okay. I can do that.
Well, that's very nice of you.
Oh, this is
Thank you,
4,
Yeffi.
right? 4 girls each?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How much is that all together?
16.
Grade 16. That's a
Yeah.
number I can do. I can do that. You may have also forgotten that giant chest of gold that a certain person who wants to murder us now gave me. You know, that was also a thing that happened. That we did not split up entirely correctly.
Oh.
So, there's that
yeah,
whole
you can
thing.
pay
So
for
I
the
just,
cart.
I did
I'll
forget
pay
about
for the
that.
cart. It'll be okay. I just feel like, it's been a while and maybe I should use some of this instead of carrying it in my boot because it's really uncomfortable. There's a lot.
You should try keeping it in your mouth. That's
I
what's
keep it in
safer.
all different parts on my body, honestly, and I also have a small chest on the boat that I will no longer be keeping there, obviously. So, yeah. All right. I could do that.
While we're in Delbers, Paul, Indigo will go around and I want to see if there are any, rumors or any news about people, about this, big meet that's happening in Middenheim.
Great. Roll me a gossip test. Or fellowship test plus your gossip ability there.
19.
Ooh.
Excellent.
Forgot Indigo was very good at this.
So, as you're asking about sorry, I
Yeah,
lost
people
track.
coming through go to Middenheim. If there's any news about that, anyone heard about elector counts coming through, or the
Right,
Theogenist or something like that.
So high people, right? Any
Yeah.
nobility or et cetera have a move through the
Exactly.
area recently, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There is word that some weeks ago that the Grand Theogenist came through town with his retinue. That the rumor is that he was headed up to. Let me give you the right information here. That he was headed up to Middenheim specifically to meet with. If I can find it, the church officials of the cult of Ulric. Is allegedly what was happening there. And it's generally believed that this is something to do with the friction that has occurred recently between the Sigmarites and the Ulricians. That there's a bit of some bad blood has recently arisen between them. That there have been skirmishes between members of the two churches around, and that possibly that visit has something to do to try and establish a peace.
Interesting. All right, cool. And the cult of Ulric is based in Middenheim? Do I know that, or what do I know about the cult of Ulric?
Yes, trying to find his title. The head of the cult is based in Middenheim, indeed.
Okay.
Whose actual name and title I will find for you.
Cool.
Yep.
All right. Well, I guess that means we're going in the right direction. Cool.
Anything else?
Yeah.
I got the carts. I got this is our coach guy, and we got some horses. I don't think that one's a horse. I think that one's actually a mule, but I've been told it's a horse. It looks a little, a little short legs. It's got a big head. You know what I'm saying? It's a freaking mule, but the guy says it's a horse. He just thinks because I'm short, I won't notice the difference between these two animals. But I can tell. Yeah, it's a mule. Anyway, its name's Alabaster. It's trying to bite me. And other than that, it's quite pleasant. Oh, look, Patches! Don't forget Patches, everybody!
Oh, it's Patches!
Patches! Come on, Patches, we were going to forget you on the boat. So you can come along. Come on,
my
buddy.
goodness.
That's right. All right,
A real
Patches.
dog appeared on camera. I feel like the podcast audience
Yeah, just be like, what?
might be lost by that
Sorry,
one.
everybody. Yeah.
So, you load up onto the coach, which is driven by a pair of fairly rough-looking Empire folk who grumble and get to work at driving the coach. The four of you are the only passengers, or the four of you plus Patches are the only passengers on the coach. You basically fill it. There's probably you could scrunch 6 people in the coach, you would suppose, but it seems there's not the other space hasn't been sold, so you're able to load up your baggage and hit the road, and the coach begins trundling to the north.
Did we hand off the ship to Renat?
You did. I believe you did, right? Correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
I minus that money. It's gone now.
Excellent. Renat bids you well. There's some emotion as you bid farewell. Renat gives Yeffi another hug.
I'll miss you too, Renat. I'm also taking these 3 bottles of wine. Okay. Goodbye.
Farewell, my
Good
friends.
Good luck.
Look for me when you are in Reichland again.
Oh, what's the name of your new boat?
I shall call it.
Yeah.
I don't have a name. We shall call it the. I don't have a good name. What do you think, Yeffi? What should we call it?
Gosh. You could call it you can't call it the Bruno or the Yeffi or the Indigo or the Mina. That's a bad idea. You can't call them any of those names.
Oh, that's a good point.
Perhaps I call it the Comet after the
Ooh,
emblem of Sigmar, the twin-tailed comet.
Oh,
That's
Comet.
actually a comet.
Yeah.
Good.
certainly won't lead back
Hopefully
to
we'll-
Austin anyway.
Hopefully we'll see
I mean,
the
it's a
comet
good
again
name.
in the future.
It's in Reichland. Sigmar is held in high regard, and
I do love him.
yes, I'm short. And so if you ever end up in a town and the comet is there, it will of course be at your service.
Oh, thank you so much, Renat. Good luck.
Good
I
luck
can't
to
wait
you
to
as
see
well.
what happens. Hear about the comet success. Taking these
right.
bottles of wine, though. These are mine now. Okay, yeah.
Very good.
Ooh.
So and she begins, and she has plans to actually stay in Delbers for a week or two as she has the ship refitted, painted and retitled, and she's thinking about maybe getting a new masthead for it, and
Smart.
yeah, generally making it nice. But you four get onto the coach, and you start trundling your way north up the north road into deeper into Middenheim, and the land grows more mountainous as you head towards the north, and it becomes the terrain becomes a bit rougher. And the weather gets a little colder a little colder. It is still summer, but definitely you're
We
clearly
all
headed
these
to the north.
spurs for no reason.
As you're traveling to the north after a day or two, you come across a small village, and the coach, which you sometimes in the evening will stop at a coaching house or a small village if there is one. But generally, you're used to the coach stops at night, and you're able to stop at an inn and have a comfortable meal and sleep in a bed that night. But this is kind of midday, and so normally a little village like this it would just blow through. But the coach comes to a halt, and you can hear some grumbling coming from the coachman up front. For those of you in the interior of the coach itself.
What? Excuse me. Why are we stopped?
Indigo, you lean
stick my
out
head
the
out the
window
window.
to look to shout at the coachman and ask why you're stopped, and you can immediately see in the center of this little village. The road goes right through this little village. It's just a couple buildings on either side of the road, little cluster of buildings. But in the center of the road, there is a large post at which is bound a person, and there appear to be two groups of people, two groups of men arguing over. Apparently, you see them frequently gesturing and pointing at the person who's bound to the post, and it seems to be getting quite heated. And you notice something interesting about these two groups. One of them looks very. They're wearing a lot of pelts, and you can see one of them has like a big wolf head hood over his head. And the others, you can see emblems of the hammer and the twin-tailed comets.
Oh.
And they're kind of standing on either side of the road. They're about 20 feet apart, and they're shouting and they're pointing at the person, the one person who seems to be bound to the post.
Do we know these guys?
Can we skirt right past this?
Cult to Sigmar. I guess we should go see what's this about. Indigo.
It's definitely Indigo. You notice they're definitely in the way, right? They're in the middle of the road, and so they're clearly hindering. And in fact, as you lean out the window to take this in, one of the coachmen just kind of leans around from his seat up at the front of the coach and kind of looks at you and just kind of shrugs.
Yeah. Indigo will hop out and approach the group.
Excellent. Which group do you approach?
I'll just approach the general middle.
Okay.
And they're having an argument, and I'll... excuse me, what's happening here?
As you approach, you immediately start to hear the gist of the argument. You can see one of the men with the kind of leader of the group of the Sigmarites is shouting and pointing. This woman is a witch, and she is tainted with chaos, and she must be burnt immediately. And this is retorted immediately with shouts and howls from the other group. You have no authority here, Sigmarites. This is a good Ulrician town. There will be a proper trial. You must go away. You must stop immediately. Put away your brands.
Do we hear this from the coach?
Right now, are you like leaning out the window?
I guess so.
Okay, you can hear the words if you are actively like peering out to see what's going on. But if you're just sitting in the coach, it's muffled, and certainly Indigo hears it, having pushed his way out of the coach and walked up.
If Mina can hear witch, Mina is out.
Yeah, okay.
Mina wants to see what's going on.
Mina hops out of the coach.
I've noted that Bruno was leaning out because I decided to roll for that because I didn't decide. And as soon as he hears which, he also hops out, treatise in hand, underarm.
Excellent.
Excuse me. Hello. Could we do this not in the middle of the road?
You can see one of the as you see there's about 4 Sigmarites on your left, and you can see one of them's got like a torch that he's laid on the ground, and he's got like flint and steel in his hands, and you can see now all of the wood that's bundled about the foot of the post where the woman is bound. And she's bound and she's gagged, and her hair is all wild and she's dirty, and she's got like twigs and stuff sticking out of her hair. She kind of grits her teeth and lets out an occasional muffled cry. But you can see like this as you say that the Sigmarites are like, the pyre is already prepared. You stay out of this. You must wait. We will be done here momentarily. Justice, Sigmar's justice will be done. And as he says that, the Ulricians kind of press forward, and you can see them gripping at axes and swords and getting ready like they're about to rush the Sigmarites.
Oh. Inigo's gonna jump in the middle of them.
Oh!
Okay.
And he's gonna, oh! He's gonna turn to the Sigmarites, right, who he's more familiar with, right? And he'll say, brothers and sisters of Sigmar, surely a brawl in the street is not the way to dish out Sigmar's justice. I think probably we can all just calm down and come to an amicable everybody.
Roll me a fellowship test, please, Indigo. Mina, you've jumped out of the wagon as you see this happen, or the coach, as you see this happening. Are you doing anything?
Are there any just people around? People who aren't involved with the cult?
There
watching?
are. You can see a variety of villagers on either side of the street, peering from windows or standing in doorways. It definitely seems like they're nervous, and so they're kind of holding back and trying to not get in the way, but very curious about what's going on.
If there's anyone who looks approachable, Mina's gonna be like, "Ooh, what'd she do?"
Okay, you head kind of off to the side near the largest building, which appears to be a tavern, and you ask one of the people, "Oh, she's a witch. I heard that she did foul magics upon one of those fellows." And points at the group of Sigmarites. Foul magics at the tavern that made him lose at cards. Cursed him, I think. Cursed him.
I don't know. Well, my friend over there, I'm going to point at Bruno. My friend over there is actually an expert on identifying cursed people. And, maybe he would be able to, to look her over.
This is being referred to as such as maybe the greatest thing that's ever happened to Bruno in his life filled with troubles.
The villager you're talking to, Mina, just kind of shrugs and is like, if he wants to get in the middle of that, I mean, ugh.
Yeah.
Indigo, how'd you do on your fellowship test? Sorry, you cut out on us just as you were telling me the number.
I got a 9.
A 9! Okay, very good. Yeffi, where are you right now?
I'm in the coach drinking some wine.
Excellent.
Kind of peering a little bit out the window, but being like, well, I don't want the coach to run away. I find it interesting that the two people who did any kind of actual chaotic magic are out there now with them. Talk about witches. So that's going to be interesting. And I draw a little doodle in my journal. Now we met witch people.
Excellent. And Max, where's Bruno right now?
Hopped out of the cart behind Mina, and as soon as Mina refers to him as an expert, Bruno raises his hands and starts walking towards the whole group. Fear not, common people, for Dr. Bruno Finebottom, expert on witchcraft and mutation, is in your midst, and I'm holding up the treatise.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So Bruno's giving that speech, holding up the treatise. Indigo, you're kind of in the middle, trying to calm them, addressing the Sigmarites, and as you do so, you hear howling, and you look back over your shoulder, and you can see that the 5 Ulricians are just like frothing, and one of them has leaned up his head and let out this horrible howl, and they all just pull out weapons and just start rushing towards the Sigmarites and you in between them.
What?
Will one of you roll me
I told you
initiative,
they were
please?
wolves.
I guess it should be Indigo.
Yeah, Indigo.
5.
5. Okay, Indigo, you see them coming at you just absolutely, like, enraged. What do you do?
Do the Sigmarites have weapons?
Yeah, they do. In fact, they look.
Of course they do.
You notice that they're fairly well armed and armored. The Sigmarites. There's 4 of them. There's less. There's 5 Ulricians and only 4 Sigmarites. But the Sigmarites look a little more military-ish, right? They have some armor. They have insignia on them. They look a little more formal, whereas the Ulricians look a little more ragged with lots of patchwork, bits of fur and hide and such.
Indigo is going to fight back, but he's not gonna draw his sword. Can I use strike to stun if I don't have a weapon? Like, can I just punch people out?
You could try, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna try to cold cock one of these these Ulricians.
Great. Give me
as they
an
charge
attack.
at me.
Give me an attack.
13.
Okay. Yeah. You slam your fist into the face of one of the charging Ulricians. You know, jumping forward, perhaps startling him, getting under the reach of his weapon. Clock him in the jaw, and he's just stunned, and he just goes stumbling back, and his head is kind of spinning. Yeffi, what do you do?
Oh God. Okay. I stumble out of the carriage to try to back up Indigo. I'm just gonna, if he's fighting someone, if you're trying to stun somebody, and she's gonna just try to trip them from behind. If she can get up there fast enough. I don't know, little dwarf legs.
Give me an agility test, Yeffi, since you were all the way in the cart. Let's see how quickly you get out there.
Oh, that's just a 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
You basically you spend the round climbing out and getting into position, but you can see it's definitely quickly turning into a brawl as the two groups meet and converge right on where Indigo's standing between them, and you kind of you try to carefully swing around the outside of the group. Are you targeting the Ulricians specifically or the Sigmarites?
Just whoever Indigo's facing off against.
Yeah, you just saw Indigo punch in the jaw one of these guys in the wolf pelt looking stuff. So you're guessing that's the group. So you start swinging around them, trying to position yourself ready to.
Those must be the people Indigo don't like. So I'll fight that guy.
Excellent, Bruno. What are you doing?
Yeah.
I guess I just continue to shout at them, "Fear not, for we can solve this through science. There is no need for violence."
Bruno continues to harangue them as they collide in mortal combat. Mina, what are you doing?
Mina's gonna point at the fight and be like, "Whoa! Look at that fight!" to try and cover her casting invisibility on the woman.
On the random
on the woman
villager
who's at the stake.
Oh,
Yeah.
on the stake. Okay.
Oh, no.
What is the range of casting of this? Do you have to touch?
I actually don't know.
Yeah,
That's a
fine.
great question.
No, you can do it from a distance. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. As far as Mina can tell, this poor woman just was a woman.
I'll just warn you. There's no such thing really as stealthy casting. You make strange sigils in the air and you speak words of power. You can do the best you can. But
I will do the best I can.
Very good.
In that case, I kind of want to back up a little bit in the hopes that they're all focused on the extremely crazy fight that's happening in front of me.
Very good.
So I rolled a 4 and a 1, which is a 5. So it did succeed, but I do get a downside, which is great. Ideal.
Every time with invisibility. Every time.
I know. So hopefully
It's a
it's not a big
cursed
sign that
spell.
says, in fact, I am a witch.
That is a minor mishap. Okay, great. Okay. Okay, so
Great.
what happens is the two groups converge. The Ulricians and the Sigmars clashing heavily. One of the Ulricians was stunned by Indigo. Another one actually attacks Indigo, but misses wildly, just swinging a big broad axe swipe at you, Indigo, and you dodge to the side. The remaining three Ulricians clash into the Sigmarites. One of the Sigmarites taking a heavy blow. The three of the four Sigmarites come swinging back, but they're a little slower pulling out hammers and swords in some cases to fight back. But the one Sigmarite who had the flint and steel out steps back, and he kind of gets his torch going, and he lifts up his torch and he goes to approach to light the pyre under the woman. But just as he's trying to do that, Mina's spell goes off. There's a shimmer around the woman. The ropes binding her to the pole actually loosen and drop around her. And there's a moment where you can see she thrashes around and she just bites down hard onto the gag and just starts shredding it. And as she's doing so, you can see that her face contorts and large, big fangs grow, and her whole body just starts to bulk up, and several whipping tentacles come flying out of her back. And just as that happens, she vanishes from sight. And that's where we'll end tonight.
This is such a good spell, guys.
It's freaking cursed. Every time it makes things notably worse.
Chapter 2, My Friends Do It Again.
I love the idea of this group's adventures put through the lens of a children's book.
It's like one of those chapter books for like first, second graders. There's only like 2 pages in a chapter.
Yeah.
I'm reminded of the movie Throw Mama from the Train, where Danny DeVito at the end of this whole horrible story of attempted murder writes a children's book about it. But then, instead of throwing her off the train, we have a picnic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Yeah, that will surely convince him she's not a witch. Perfect. Yeah, that nailed that. Yeah. Oh man.
Excellent. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. It's another exciting escapade of our
Escapade.
brave adventurers. And we'll see you next week on 10 Dead Rats. Good night, everybody.
Good night.